I cover Ole Miss down here in Mississippi, and Jake Springer has made a tremendous impact on the defense down here. And I just wanted to see if you'd be kind enough to just kind of talk about what kind of player Jake was for you at Navy.
He was a great player. I mean, the 1 year he started, Scott, was his second, or he had tackles for losses. I mean,
yeah, he was up there.
He broke some school records. I mean, he was a phenomenal football player, and in our system, in Coach Newberry's defensive system, he fit perfectly in what we were doing. And it's obvious we miss him. I mean, but he was a really good football player, great person. I love that kid. I'm happy for him, really, really happy that he's doing well, in DJ's system over there, and, Lane gave him a chance, and grateful that he landed at obviously a great place. They're playing well, and he's doing well. So really happy for him.
He ended up tied for third sacks all time for a single season, and tied for fifth tackles for a loss all time single season.
I think obviously the thing that helped him going to Ole Miss is we had tape, and I'm sure those guys looked at it like, whoa. I mean, this kid, played well against really good people, and it obviously helped him. But really happy for him, Billy.
Coach, it amazes me that he only had 2 FBS offers out of high school. Any idea why that was?
He's a baseball player, played other things. I don't know. For us, maybe he wasn't the flat-out burner, maybe that people are looking for. I don't know. But for us, he had size. I mean, he had it all for us. I mean, he could have played on the offensive side of the ball too. He's got really good hands. Obviously, he's returning punts at Ole Miss. He was, punt returner for us too. Just smart too, Billy. Really smart football player. So maybe it's just straight ahead speed. I don't know. That might be the one thing, but he had everything else. He's super athletic. He's got great size. And I think the one thing that you can't really know about the kid unless you coach him. He's a really, really smart player. I mean, so I remember one spring, I was calling plays in spring practice. And so I was getting ready to call something, and I called it. And I mean, it gets to the line. I mean, he's calling out the plays. And I'm getting, like, watch this coming right here. And, I'm the head coach, so I can't yell at him because he's one of my players too. But I want to say, will you be quiet, Springer? I mean, but he's super smart. He sees things. Great kid too. I mean, he's a great kid.
Did it catch you completely off guard when he decided to transfer?
No, we were hoping that he would stay. You know what I mean? It just, had some thoughts about leaving. And I wish he would have stayed and could stay, but I understand. I've been here a long time. Sometimes things happen, it's not for everybody, and I get that. And we were sad. The Coach Ukaitis, who recruited him, had a great relationship with him. Coach Johns, who coached him here along with Coach Newberry. I mean, the defensive coordinator. We tried our best. We'd love to have him stay, but after that, when things were that he was going to end up leaving, we just tried our best to try to help him. And it was interesting after that, Billy. He had quite a few people looking at him after that. Now, like you said, coming out of high school,
right?
Not very many offers, but then people saw him on tape. They saw him on tape against Notre Dame and SMU and Houston, and all these people. So they knew that he was a good football player, and like you said, obviously he's landed at a really good program.
Coach, thank you so much. I appreciate you. Respect what you do.
Thank you, Billy. Take care, brother.
You too.
Okay, let's go to Scott Wyckoff, WBAL.
Hey, Coach, what's impressed you the most about what you saw on Saturday from ECU against a team that you know how good they are in Memphis?
To beat them there, that's a tough place to win. The way they hung on, that's a tough team. They fought to the end. Overtime game. just impressive, you know what I mean? And you can see the jubilation of their team after a win, but hard fought win against a good team on the road. Those are always hard to do and impressive about what they did.
And they also look like they're a pretty tough team that's rebounded from kind of a slow start to really turn things around during the season. Is that the sense you get from these guys, that they're tough?
Well, they always have been. Coach Houston is a tough football coach. He's a good coach. Doesn't surprise me what they're doing. Sorry, I had to put I don't know if I was echoing, so I was trying to put away my iPod. But anyways, no, it doesn't surprise me because Coach Houston's a tough coach and he's a good football coach, and so they've embraced, you know, his culture, and you know, it's you tip your hat to Coach Houston, what he's done there with their program. You know, I mean, you're happy for them. You know, Mike's a good guy. Not, you know, now we got to play them, but you know, just happy for what he's been able to accomplish, what the guys have been able to do. But we're looking forward to a challenge to play them. But it's very commendable what they did, and it doesn't surprise me they're a tough group.
Thanks, Coach.
Thanks, Scott.
Let's go to Bill Wagner.
Hey, Coach, continuing on with East Carolina, obviously the Harris kid last year had a very long run against you, and he played well. And I think Strauss, wasn't he the American Athletic Conference Rookie of the Year, Harris, last year?
Yeah, sounds right. I believe you're correct.
Right, but then I looked at their stats, and they got a freshman that's got more rushing yards than him, a guy that's almost got 1,000 yards. I mean, looks like it's a heck of a 1-2 tandem, those two guys.
Well, and their quarterback's back. You know what I mean? So Ayler's back. You know, we didn't play against him last year, but he knows their system. Been in for, you know, several years now. Lefty, smart, big. He's played well, but like you said, great running attack there. You know, they possessed the ball against Memphis last week. You know, had the ball for a long time, had a lot of yards, but it's going to be another tall challenge for us.
So you talked a little last week about Senior Day, and there's some things that you do that have kind of become traditions. And, you know, you have the seniors will talk, and maybe you could talk a little bit about this, but I believe on Friday night, you'll give them an opportunity to speak, each of them. And then obviously on game day, and last year they weren't able to do this, but this year they'll be able to go out there with their parents by their sides on the field, which is always special. Can you just talk about this whole Senior Day? And it's hard not to get emotional when you go through this whole week, I would imagine.
Yeah, it's always emotional for all of the coaches, the players. You know, you invest a lot into this. I'm talking about the players. And so when you realize the finality of playing your last game in Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium, I think it's really emotional for these players. The program is built on developing, and the seniors are the leaders. And this has been as good a class as I could set as leaders that I've ever been around. You know, the season on the field's not going so great like we'd like it to be. But, you know, just the small victories that are occurring off the field, on the field, from a leadership standpoint from these seniors has been remarkable. The Friday night team meeting, those are always emotional meetings, you know, with the players talking and just speaking from the heart. Like you said, Wags, having their parents come. I mean, that's where everything starts. It's emotional too, because you see some of the kids with their parents, and then you remember them coming on their official visit or visiting them in recruiting and seeing their journey to be where they're at. And a lot of them wanted to leave. And, you know, some of their teammates aren't here anymore that, you know, that didn't finish it out. So all of that, just the climax of all of that coming together. It's like you said, it is a very emotional day for these seniors and it's very understandable why it's so emotional.
And obviously it's 25 seniors. I went back and looked at the original recruiting class, and it was obviously a lot more than that. I think close to 60 players total. Can you talk about those guys that have made it to the end? It's not, as you mentioned, it's not hard, and You know, some are still at the academy and not playing football, or some have had injuries cut short their career. Others have left the academy. But when you look at the guys that made it to the end, you know, you got to applaud them.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of them are still here at the academy. And some guys decide they can't do everything. It doesn't make you a bad person, but it's hard to be a Division I football player. You know, people don't recognize the time invested to be a Division I football player. It's hard to be a student here. You know, that's hard. It's hard to be a midshipman. Then you combine all three. And like I said, I've said this 1,000 times. It's hard to do. And so guys that have decided to step away from football, I don't think they're bad people. It just, I mean, it's not for everybody. You can't do everything. The guys who have stayed, especially during the pandemic, Wags, that was hard. I mean, our program, you know, took some shots during the pandemic. I mean, there's a lot of guys that didn't stay around, but that was a hard time for the whole world. And it made it tougher at the academy. Just being in a dorm, you know, during some of the time, you know, so for a lot of reasons, you know, probably we lost more this year than maybe in years past. But like I said, there are some global things also going on in the world besides the normal things that you deal with. And if you stayed here, Wags, and you're still fighting, I mean, I got the utmost respect for you.
And last for me, we mention this each year, but you know, I look at the list of seniors and guys like Michael Salisbury and Cal Long and, you know, Matty Conlon are guys that I don't know. Are they on the scout team? I think every year there's a few seniors that willingly serve on the scout team. Are some of those guys on the scout team? And if so, can you talk about those guys that are, you know, willing to stick it out? I mean, if I'm a senior and I'm on the scout team, it's easy for me to quit the team.
Well, Mike Salisbury, you know, got injured. He was a special teams player for us, but he got injured. But he's helping our scout team. Again, another great leader, great young man. He's going to do great things for our country, but doesn't say anything, comes to work, you know, and he's fought through a lot of injuries, and he has been a leader on our scout team. Actually, Matty Condon, you know, those guys are going to end up playing for us or played some snaps. Cal Long has played some snaps. You know what I mean? So Cal's actually got in, continued to battle, and he's gotten in there and played. But the one guy I can think about just at the top of my head is probably Salisbury. You know, we've had other guys that have they're still hanging around the program that are helping, but got injured. You know, and again, I got to go look at my depth chart. In fact, I'm gonna walk down as we're talking, but there
is Chicky Oat, and I always never
Odaluke.
Yeah, is he playing, Coach?
Well, no, he got injured, but he just got cleared, and he's coming back from a surgery, so he's gonna help us. But there's a guy that is on scout team, been injured, but he's helping us out.
All right, and I wrote about John Kelly earlier in the year, and I know he probably plays a little special teams. John Kelly, I think.
Yeah, I don't think there's any seniors. I don't think there's any seniors playing on the scout team outside of maybe Salisbury was. I'm just looking at the roster. I think everyone else is playing.
Yeah, I think you're right. Mitchell Johns.
Oh yeah,
John,
John, you're right. Good call.
Mitchell Johns. I mean, he's been a great leader for our defensive scout team. He actually played last year and got in for, you know, played against East Carolina last year and has come back, and he's battled through some injuries, you know, but he's still working hard. And then we got guys that are injured. This class is amazing. I mean, you got Marcel Gleason, who just had surgery, and he's been out there trying to help. Jackson Mitchell is another kid that kind of helps. He's just kind of helping out on the side and stuff, but it's an impressive group of people.
Mm-hmm. Thank you, Coach. I'll pass it off to someone else. I dominated time there. I apologize.
I had to walk to the staff room and look at the board.
Phil Bergman.
Yeah, coach, just two follow-ups to two of Wags' questions. The first one is this group of seniors is a unique group because they were in the pandemic during their sophomore year. They had the opportunity to leave before signing the 2-for-7, and they stayed through a pandemic, and now they're seniors. Just specifically relating to that, what has this group meant to you?
Well, that's a great point, Bill. You bring up a great point that they could have left, but they stayed. And it was during the time when they had a lot of time to think, because we were, again, when we were in the pandemic, our guys they're sequestered to their dorms. Other college students, they're off campus and they can roam freely, and these guys couldn't go anywhere. And so I know there are a lot of meetings that we had to have individually and by groups, by Zoom and Google Meets, and a lot of guys are thinking about leaving. A lot of guys because you get all that time on your hands sitting around, is this worth it? Do I want to be here? Do I want to sign that? But it shows, like you said, Phil, they stayed. I have great respect for them. Just been a lot of tough things. That obviously our season, but these guys continue to keep battling, and a big part of it has been the seniors and how they've led.
And you touched on this with Wags a little. I know last year you talked a lot about Chase Parrish. Is there a guy this year that really hasn't seen the field much, that really puts in the work at practice, that is a senior that you've just really been impressed with?
Well, I think those are the three guys that that Wags talked about.
Yep.
Michael Salisbury, Chike, and also Mitchell Johns. But Mitchell Johns has been the leader of the scout defense. So here's a senior that could have sulked. He actually traveled last year, and he's not traveling this year, but he's been the leader for the defensive scout team. Michael Salisbury's been one of the leaders, and Chike, both of those guys have led on the offensive scout team in spite of injuries. Both of them came back from surgeries, and they're tough young men.
And lastly, just on Michael Salisbury and the preseason interviews, almost every player, it seems like, was talking about Michael Salisbury as one of the hardest workers and toughest guy to work out with and all those things. Just what's he like? What's his character like?
His character is impeccable. He's the same every day. He always comes to work the same way, doesn't change. There's a consistency about him. There's a personal integrity about him that you don't have to worry about him. You know what you're going to get from him every day, rain or shine, hot or cold, feeling good, feeling bad. He just comes to work every day, and it's just, I think for everybody, it was just a great example of, and he wasn't playing much, but his work ethic and his level of commitment to the program didn't change. But again, it's a great example of what commitment means. You're not committed because of the circumstances. Commitment doesn't mean that things are going good, you stay committed. You're committed because of your belief or your cause, what you're, and what, in spite of the outside circumstances, you're going to keep grinding, keep committed to what you do, and that's been him. He doesn't waver, man. The guy doesn't flinch.
Easy one. Ken, I was just curious, what did you really want to emphasize over this past week?
Last week was to get healthy. Just physically. So we got some practices in, but just to try to recover the best we can to make a strong run here at the end. And this week, and it was actually to get healthy and find a way to get one for the seniors.
Who will be able to? Will we get some guys back this week?
Good chance Pierce. And so we feel good about Pierce coming back. Yeah, probably right now, probably Pierce that didn't play.
Mm-hmm. And just one quickie, I want to ask about Diego. He's obviously putting together another fantastic year. I'm just curious, what has he added to his game, or what has he even improved on from, an outstanding last year? What did he even add coming into this year?
That's a great question, because he had in our mind, he's had a better year, but I think the way he's done that, he's come to work every day, Kareem. just continue to keep grinding, keep working. The only reason he doesn't practice because the trainers keep him out because he's banged up. I mean, he sells out on the field. But I think his commitment level, his humility to, try to learn as much as he can from Coach Volker. You know what I mean? He's always been a student in the game, and he's a really smart football player. But I think he's even taking the extra time to even find out more nuances and learn more about Coach Newberry's defense. And I feel like he's been a guy that can do, all of that stuff. And I think that's the thing that's kind of helped him on it. He was always a smart player, always knew the defense, but I think his level of knowledge of the defense and his position has gone to another level.
What do you remember about your senior day in college? Was that an important day that you remember back to when you see your seniors out in the field?
Yeah, it is. I mean, we used to do the senior walk. So, you walk around the stadium and everybody gives you lays. So I always remember that. I was, my daughter was young. So I just remember carrying my daughter. As a senior day at Hawaii is also pretty special too, just because it's your last day and just all the lays.
What is 25 about normal when you're at the end of it? I mean, I know you bring in.
No, it's slower.
Is it?
It's slower.
Does that have an impact on where you are right now? I mean, you're playing a lot of young guys because some seniors who could be here are not.
I mean, it's. I mean, you hate saying this stuff because when you're not doing well, people just like, are you just making excuses? But the truth's the truth, man. And we lost a lot of people during the pandemic. You know what I mean? Guys coming from NAPS, from the prep school, and the guys here. And we just heard one of them. Is playing at Ole Miss right now. He's playing well too. So
the guy playing well at Wake Forest too, which is
yes.
having a great season.
But I mean, you just try to keep pressing forward. But
last for me, you're 7-1 against East Carolina, 4-0, I believe, as conference opponents. Any idea why you play so well against East Carolina?
No, we're just trying to get ready for this one that just became bowl eligible. You know what I mean? And so shows. I mean, Mike's done a really good job there. It's going to be a tough task for us. They're playing well, having a good year. Obviously, we're not having a so great year, but we're going to try to figure it out. Wags. We'll try to find a way to get this one for the seniors. And so I know kids will show up. Hopefully, we prepare them well enough and they play well and coach well and find a way to get one for the seniors. They deserve it. This group of seniors, like I said, I keep saying this. I just been so impressed with them. It's hard as a coach to come in. You can't be down when you come on the field and see these guys running around and you see Gleaton hopping around with one leg and, Kevin Brennan, who had surgery last week. I mean, he's still at practice. Mitch West, all these seniors, they're still out there going. Diego, I mean, he can barely make it into the locker room after every game. He sells out on the field. Cooper. I mean, like I said, the list goes on and on. And just all of these guys, Jerry Warren, DeAndre. I mean, these guys, Mikey McMorris. Geez, I mean, just be really happy for all these guys, and just hopefully we can send them out the right way and finish strong.
So as it look, Kevin will not be able to. Will he be back, or the surgery pretty much puts an end to his season?
Yeah, Kevin's done. So you never would have thought, I mean, we lost both of our safeties. We're feeling really good about that position, and we lost both of our safeties.
Actually, first and second team, both safeties.
Yeah.
What are you most looking forward to on your senior day with your family and your teammates?
I wish I had something to look forward to besides winning the game, but really nothing, because it means it's the last time playing in that stadium, playing in Navy Marine Corps Memorial Stadium. So it's going to be an emotional day for me. I know I'm going to miss that stadium, miss playing in our home field. So besides winning it with the guys, really nothing.
What's made the stadium so special for you personally, having played in it over the last 4 years?
For me personally, I think what made it so special was just kind of what this team, this brotherhood has brought to me. Brought me 100+ brothers, an amazing coaching staff. So, and an opportunity to play, Division I college football. So just, as I reflect on it all, just having the opportunity, it's meant so much. And, Navy is my new home, is my home now. So it's kind of surreal to think that it's better to be over this weekend. But it's one thing I'll never forget.
What's it like when you run out in the field there? There's such emotion in the stands. I can't imagine what it's like for the players.
Yeah, absolutely. It's a rush. You feel the love and the praise in the crowd, oozing over from the stands. It's a dream come true every week. For me personally, it all feels the same. It all feels like the first time. I still get those butterflies every time. It's time to go out of the tunnel with the guys. So for me, it's a dream come true every Saturday. It's a blessing.
It also must be pretty cool that each home game, you've got the entire support of your school. I mean, every person that you go to school with pretty much is there in the stands right behind you.
Right. Absolutely. The brigade does an awesome job every weekend of, bringing support, cheering their heads off. Comparing it to last year when we didn't have anybody in the stands, there's definitely, a huge difference with having them there and them not being able to be there. So, a lot of praise goes out to them. We don't say thank you enough, but love the brigade support.
Well, thank you, Chance, and good luck.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Phil Bergman.
Chance, following up on that, every year you see the seniors go out, they're carrying their American flags, and then they join you back. What's this moment going to be like for you to now carry one of those flags and walk out?
I think I used earlier, but surreal, absolutely surreal. Because I remember all three of the prior senior days. Remember the last time for those seniors in the hotel. I remember playing in sophomore year, junior year, senior days, and just kind of how and knowing what it means to them. It's kind of crazy to think and sit back and be like, it's my turn to walk out with the American flag and play for 60 minutes one more time in that stadium. So it's going to be a crazy day, crazy environment. I'm looking forward to it.
Between your class specifically, what's the bond like? Do you have a fun story of just something that you guys all went through together?
The bond is actually I think it's tight as tight as I've been a part of. As I think about the past 2 years I played, those teams are close. Those teams, there are a lot of friends on those teams, but with this one, it's just so different. I think just because of kind of what we went through last year with COVID, all being locked down here together, and then finally coming out and having like a real spring ball and a real summer, and just growing together every day, hanging out every day over the summer, just getting to know each other, at a more in-depth level. And one thing I will say, just kind of like for our senior class in specific, I think Leatherneck, as our Marine Corps training went through earlier this summer, I think that was, a very crucial piece, to how close we are today. You're kind of just going through the grind of that every single day with each other. Definitely brought us closer together.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Kareem Copeland.
Hey, Chance, you kind of touched on it real quick a second ago. Do you allow yourself to reflect a little bit more this specific week, just kind of as everything kind of comes to a culmination?
Absolutely. I don't even know if I had to allow myself. I feel like I kind of, it just happens. It just happens because, you're sitting there going through your day-to-day every day and you're not realizing that the last time you play in the stadium is creeping up on you, right? As I sit back and look at sophomore year, we played SMU for their senior day, and I'm like, that'll never be me, right? That's 2 years away. I think about last year, I believe we played Tulsa at home for their senior day, and I'm like, I still got another year. And then now I blink, and I'm like, here, and so I'm having to reflect. I'm having to bring back all the good memories, all the bad ones, and just kind of, take it all in and realize that I got 60 minutes left in the stadium that's giving me so many great memories. So gotta make it count.
Has it hit you how unique of a senior class this particularly is, coming from, what you guys went through in 2019, that great year, and then everything that's crazy in the last, 24 months, basically. Have you thought about kind of just such a weird last 3 years for you guys?
Right, absolutely. It has been weird. It's been very unique. But one thing I will say is that the guys in the senior class never wavered. And that's one thing I love about this class the most is that nobody ever looked back. Nobody ever second guess each other or themselves. We took everything in stride. Now everything didn't turn out how we wanted it to be. Nobody wants to be 2-7 their senior year. But that's how the cookie crumbles. And one thing, none of us is blinked. None of us is bad at eye. We just come back to work every single day, and we're looking to finish off the season 3-0. So that's what I love most about this team.
Perfect. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Bill Wagner.
Can you talk about some of the senior day traditions? You've watched it, been part of it as an underclassman, but like Friday night at the hotel, Coach Niumatalolo will let the seniors speak if they want to and say something about their experiences. And then, you get to go out there with your parents flanking you onto the field. And I know last year seniors weren't able to do that. Their parents were in the stands, but it's special when you walk on that field and are introduced with your parents and other family members right side by side. And then at the end of the game, hopefully after a victory, you take a senior picture out on the field.
Yes,
can you talk about all those traditions?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. So Friday night in the hotel, every guy will have the opportunity every senior will have the opportunity to stand up and kind of reflect, say his thank yous, confess his love for his brothers one more time. The whole shebang. And like I said earlier, I was fortunate enough to sit in on the last three and, hear guys like Sean Williams, Gargiulo, my freshman year, Malcolm and Taj, Ford, Crow, like all those guys sophomore year, Miles, Cam, Perk last year, junior year, but it hits a little different now that it's my class's turn. It's my turn to stand up and say those last regards. So something that I know I'm going to be emotional during, but I'm looking forward to walking out the tunnel with my parents, with my family. So it'll be my parents and my little sister. I couldn't see it any other way because without those three, I would not be on this call today. I wouldn't be where I'm at today, especially my parents. They've done more for me than I could ever thank them for, I could ever repay them for. So just, being able to walk out them one more time and let them be a part of, a dream that we accomplished together is going to be, a great satisfaction. And then obviously, after we get this win Saturday, taking that last picture with the brothers on the field, it's going to be emotional. The guys you started with, the guys you did all the hard stuff with, all the stuff that sucked, all the early mornings, late nights, studying, all that stuff. You kind of see it pay off, especially, Thursday being service selection and then getting a big senior win on Saturday. It's gonna see it all come to fruition. Really excited, really looking forward to it.
So obviously in July of 2018, Navy announced a recruiting class of 56 players and there's 25 of you left. Can you talk about, you lost guys along the way? I mean, one guy you actually lost, Miles James, you lost for good.
Right.
But other guys have transferred, left the program. Some guys are still at the academy, but can you talk about, that's a lot of guys that have gone away, yeah. 29 players.
Yeah, absolutely. And, Coach Niumatalolo talks about all the time, this is a tough school. It's a tough school to be successful at academically without athletics. And then you add athletics on top of it, it's very hard to be successful and to come out, kind of on top, so to speak. So yeah, losing those guys, like you said, a lot of them still here. A lot of them still trying to, chase the goal of graduating from this place. And that's their deal. That's okay. We still love them. We still, treat them as brothers. But for the guys that remain on the team that stuck it out all 4 years, I think it just, speaks to the testament of how tough they are as individuals, to balance the rigor of academics and also, dominate at a, Division I football level. So we just got some tough guys at a tough school. Somebody's got to be successful. So I think it just kind of speaks to, our team to see how many guys, come and go, but the ones that stay are some tough dudes.
So we were talking to Coach Niumatalolo about some guys that are seniors that stuck it out to the end who are not playing a whole lot. And can you kind of talk about a guy like Michael Salisbury? I'm looking, he came here from Shelbyville, Tennessee as a linebacker, and now he's listed as a wide receiver. But coach
Right.
said he's injured, but he helps with the scout team. He shows up every day. Can you talk about a guy like that?
Yes, sir. Absolutely. You know, Michael Salisbury is definitely somebody that you want in your corner. Never wavered, you know, never second guessed, never, you know, got bad in the mouth. I think he's played 3 or 4 positions here for us. You know, obviously at Knox played quarterback, linebacker. I know he did some Raider. Now he's at wideout. But just a guy who's going to work every day. It does what he has to do, you know, to make the team better on scout team, on special teams. Has battled some injuries, you know, this year so far. I know he's just coming off some ankle stuff, but this is a guy that's going to put his hard hat on every day and give everything he has to this program and to his brothers. So definitely a guy you want in your corner. And not even it's just Mike. I think that's everybody, that every senior that hasn't seen the field, you know, to leave your high school as a recruited guy and come here for 4 years and not see the field, and you stayed like that. That just speaks to your character. It just speaks to who you are as a person, the loyalty that you have to the guys that are on the field. So to all those guys, I commend them. My hat's off to them.
And last but not least for me, I mean, coach mentioned about when I talked about the attrition, he said, you know, this is a class that had to sign their 2 for 7 papers in the midst of a pandemic. And you all went through some tough mental times in the end of 2000 and spring 220 and then fall 220. But, you know, that was a long year. But, these guys that are still here, the ones we're going to celebrate on Saturday, they signed their papers amidst the pandemic and stuck it out. Can you talk about that?
Right, absolutely. And another thing that I think that kind of goes, I don't want to say under the radar, but missing now is that, you know, we also lost a brother in 2019, you know, in David Forney. You know, and that hits me especially close to home because Forney was the first guy to celebrate with me when I scored my first collegiate touchdown. And so I don't want to get emotional on right now, but it's just guys like that. It's just moments like that that make this place, you know, so much more worth it. I know without this team, without the brothers on this team, I don't think I would have made it all 4 years. I don't think I would have signed those papers. But because I had brothers, I had guys like Tiger Gosselin, Kevin Brennan, Carlinos Ace. I could go down the list. I could name every senior in the class that just made this place that much more special and worth staying. We got some tough dudes on this team. 2-7 is not the way we wanted it to be. But I wouldn't trade this class, you know, for anything. I wouldn't trade the memories, the wins, the losses for anything. These are definitely guys that I would love to go to battle with every single day. And I know they got my back as much as I got theirs.
In a similar note, there's seniors on this team who are not going to get to play on senior day. Do you feel for those guys like Marcel Gleaton or Kevin Brennan or Mitchell West? I mean, God, that's got to be hard. The senior day is such a big game. It's your last time in that stadium. You want to be on the field playing, and it's got to suck to have to stand on the sidelines coaching.
Just those 3 right there. Absolutely. I feel for each and every one. Just because, like, I just talked to Kevin about this the other day. Kevin Brennan has literally given everything he has to this program. You know, we were roommates sophomore year, and, you know, I'm waking up at, 6:30 for class, and Kevin's not even in the room. I text him, and he's down in Ricketts watching film, at 6 o'clock in the morning. That just speaks to, like, who he is as a person and what he gave this program. And to see it, get taken away from him, Mitch with his ACL and Marcel with his meniscus, like just to see the way that it didn't end how they wanted it to. I hate it for him. But just another thing, speaking on their character, like none of them have not shown up to practice or like just bagged it and be like, you know what, I don't want to go out to practice anymore because I'm hurt. All 3 of them have showed up every day. Kevin and Mitch have contributed to the safety room, teaching the younger guys. Marcel is coming, obviously coached with the wideouts, and it's just who they are, as people. I don't know how they do it, how they, how you say mentally strong when something you love so much is taken from you so quickly. But that's just the guys they are. I hate it for them, but I know that they love this program and they love each and every person that wears the Navy across their chest.